As the Daybreak Show continues on here, I've got some great folks in studio to talk about a really cool partnership that has blossomed during the COVID pandemic that we've been in part of here. Lisa Perry from Sierra Pacific is here, and Nicole Eddins as well from Mason Health, Mason General Hospital. How are you guys doing?
Fabulous. Great.
Good to see you first and foremost. We are wearing our masks. CDC is talking about changing its guidance a little bit, and so we want to just make sure, although we're all vaccinated, we're all safe and protected, and vaccinations is the name of the game, and that's what we're talking about here. You know, early on there was a lot of these vaccines, and you know, Nicole, I know we've talked that you would have a batch, and then you would go, oh my gosh, we have a lot of available vaccines, and the clock is now ticking. We've got to do something with these, and that's how Lisa comes involved in this conversation.
Yes, Jeff. So how it works is whenever we have events, whether they be pop-up in the community or like our public health events where we have mass vaccination, we try our best to come prepared so it's streamlined for the patients so they're not waiting as long. So we usually pre-fill syringes, preload them, get everything ready to go. Well, when you do that, the vaccine is only good for so many hours. And so you try your best to pre-register people, have a good idea who's coming, and we've had a couple events where we ended up with a handful, sometimes upwards of 80 or 90 extra doses. And that could be a little nerve-wracking in the moment because you want to find an arm for those vaccines and you want to do the best to waste as few as possible. And just huge kudos to Sierra Pacific, who one of the many community partnerships that really emerged in this pandemic for us. We on 2 different events had kind of a panic phone call of, hey, can you help us out? Do you have anyone who can take this vaccine? And on both occasions, we brought the vaccine down to Sierra Pacific, and we were able to vaccinate numerous people, not just your employees, but also community members.
That's great, Lisa. So talk to me a little bit about how that worked at Sierra Pacific. Where was this done? Was it in the break room? Or?
In our conference room became a vaccine clinic over, and it was actually, Nicole's talking about the 2 bigger events, but there were several days where they had like a handful and we got lots. But it's hard to remember now because vaccines are so easy to find, but back then our employees weren't even eligible yet, but we wanted to get them vaccinated and we had a lot of employees that wanted it. Yeah. And so they'd call up and say, we have 5, and we go, okay, that's no problem. We have 6, that's no problem. We have 20, okay, now we still got that. Then the day they called up and said they had almost 100, I got other partners involved because we should give credit to that too. We did a phone tree around downtown, and the EDC, the chamber, a couple other community leaders all got on the phone, and we used up the full 100. Down to the fact, my favorite story is we were down to 1 dose 15 minutes before they expired, and our cleaning crew for our office walked in and we offered it to them and they took it.
Oh,
so
that's great. And these partnerships are continuing as needed throughout the communities, right? If an organization has a handful of folks that they've determined to be eligible, everybody above 12 now eligible, but if they haven't yet received those vaccines, you can set those up. So what would be the process for somebody to call to get you to come down, or somebody from Mason Hospital to come down?
Just anyone at that point when we were going at full steam, we were willing to come out, especially when it was larger size groups not as mobile. We did several pop-up events at the senior center. Huge kudos to them for helping us with the administrative portion, very similar to what Sierra Pacific did. Pretty easy to bring the vaccine to a place. That takes about, half hour, little coordination, grab some supplies. Much more difficult to bring the people to the place. That was the tough point. And what really helped us was all these community partnerships we had just filled in those gaps for us and really helped the administrative part of it to get it, because our goal is just to get it in as many arms as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the state's hovering a little bit above 70. I think Mason County's between 53-55% vaccination there, but still, like you said, there's plenty of arms out there to still get that. So do what you can, and as you are out in the community and you talk with folks, is it the one-on-ones with you being a doctor, or is it a one-on-one? Have you heard stories where it's a one-on-one with somebody in their fellowship or a clergy, or how do you get somebody to take that final step and decide that vaccine is is going to be helpful to them? I mean, what are the lines that you say, well, maybe you could look at this, or talk to this person, or talk to that person?
I think it's variable depending on the person. There's kind of a spectrum of vaccine hesitancy. You've got a lot of people just on the fence, just need a little bit of time to process it, to think it through. You need others to see the data, would prefer the FDA formal approval. We've heard that. And then there's others who just full blown don't want it, for either religious reasons or personal reasons. And, my goal is to respect everyone's opinion and work with it. And obviously from Mason Health, our providers are promoting it. We recently put forward a huge display of promotion of that, several which, our providers, our senior leadership team answered the question why I got my COVID vaccine on little index cards, and it's front and center in our hospital and our clinic now to show people our support of it, why our personal decisions, why we got it. And I think there's a common theme. If you look at that poster and you take some time to read the comments, a lot of them revolve around, it's really not about me, it's about our community, it's about my family, it's about my friends. Several of the providers answered they want to protect their patients, so it's about the whole. And I think that is the word we're trying to get out, is we're trying to protect each other right now.
Yeah, and it's a very important time as the Delta variant is increasing across the country and the state. So get those vaccines if you are, that's what you choose to do. Otherwise, masks up, and we may start to see more of these masks around the daily lives that we've been. I thought we were so close to getting rid of them, but. Yep. It happens. Nicole Eddins, Lisa Perry, good to talk with you.
Great to be here, Jeff, and
yep.
Thanks.